Long ago in the vast Persian Empire lived a young Jewish girl. Her name was Hadassah. She was an orphan. Her kind cousin Mordecai lovingly raised her. They lived in Susa, the capital city. The mighty king Xerxes ruled over 127 provinces. He was very powerful. Hadassah, also called Esther, was beautiful and gentle. Her life was simple, but it was about to change in a big way. King Xerxes decided to show off his riches. He held a huge party for 180 days. All his nobles and officials came. After this he gave another feast. This one lasted for 7 days. It was for everyone in Susa, but his queen Vashti disobeyed him. The king was very angry. He declared she would no longer be queen. So, a search began for a new queen. Many beautiful young women were brought to the palace. Esther was one of them. Mordecai told her something important. "Do not tell anyone you are Jewish," he wisely advised. Esther listened to her cousin. She spent a whole year preparing. There were special beauty treatments with oils and perfumes. When Esther finally met King Xerxes, he was charmed. He liked her more than any other woman. So, Esther, the orphan girl, became the Queen of Persia. She wore a royal crown. She lived in the grand palace. It was a new and amazing life. Mordecai often sat near the king's gate. He wanted to be close to Esther. One day, he overheard 2 guards. Their names were Bigthana and Teresh. They were plotting to harm King Xerxes. Mordecai quickly sent a message to Esther. She told the king, and Mordecai saved the king's life. A man named Haman worked for King Xerxes. The king liked Haman very much. He gave Haman a very high position. Haman became the most important official. He was very proud and arrogant. He wanted everyone to bow down to him. When Haman passed by, people would kneel. They showed him great respect. Haman enjoyed this feeling of power. He expected everyone to obey his wishes. Mordecai, Esther's cousin, sat at the king's gate. He was a faithful Jew. He would only bow down to God. So when Haman walked past, Mordecai did not bow. This made Haman incredibly angry. His pride was deeply hurt. How dare someone ignore him? Haman was filled with rage. He decided Mordecai must be punished, but his anger grew even bigger. He wanted to punish all Jewish people. Haman went to King Xerxes with his wicked plan. He told lies about the Jewish people. "Their laws are different," Haman said. "They do not obey you, king." He even offered a lot of money. 10,000 talents of silver for the king's treasury. Haman then cast a special lot, called a pur. This was to choose the day for his terrible act. The lot fell on the 13th day of the 12th month Adar. The king agreed and made a royal decree. All Jews were to be destroyed. When Mordecai heard the dreadful news, he was heartbroken. He tore his clothes in sorrow. He put on rough sackcloth and ashes. He walked through the city crying loudly. He sent a message to Queen Esther. He told her about Haman's evil decree. He begged her to speak to the king. "Perhaps," Mordecai said, "you became queen for this very reason, for such a time as this." Esther was afraid. No one could go to the king without being called. It could mean death. Esther knew she had to do something. She made a very brave decision. She sent a message back to Mordecai. "Gather all the Jews in Susa," she said. "Fast for me. Do not eat or drink for 3 days and nights." Esther promised that she and her maids would fast too. She was ready to risk everything for her people. "If I die," she declared with great courage. Her faith gave her strength for the dangerous task ahead. After 3 days of fasting, Esther put on her finest royal robes. She looked like a true queen. She went to the inner court of the king's palace. She stood where the king could see her. King Xerxes was sitting on his royal throne. When he saw Queen Esther, he was not angry. He was pleased to see her. He held out his golden scepter towards her. This was a sign she was welcome. "What is it, Queen Esther?" he asked kindly. "What is your request? I will give you up to half of my kingdom." Esther showed her wisdom. She did not reveal her true problem immediately. Instead, she made a simple request. "If it pleases the king," she said, "let the king and Haman come today to a banquet I have prepared for them." The king agreed. At the banquet, King Xerxes asked again, "What is your petition, Queen Esther?" But Esther was patient. She invited them to a second banquet the next day. Then she promised, "I will tell you what I truly want." Haman left the first banquet feeling very important and happy. But as Haman left, he saw Mordecai at the king's gate. Mordecai still did not bow. Haman's happiness vanished. He was filled with fury again. He went home and boasted to his wife, Zeresh, and his friends. He told them about his riches and his invitation from the queen, but he also complained about Mordecai. Zeresh had a cruel idea. "Build a tall gallows," she said, 50 cubits high. "Tomorrow ask the king to hang Mordecai on it." That very night, something unusual happened. King Xerxes could not sleep. He asked for the royal records to be read. He heard how Mordecai had saved his life from the 2 guards, and Mordecai had never been rewarded. The next morning, Haman rushed to the palace. He was eager to ask the king's permission. He wanted to hang Mordecai on the tall gallows. Just then, the king saw Haman. The king asked him a surprising question. What should be done for the man the king delights to honor? Haman's heart leaped. He thought the king meant him. So Haman described a grand public honor. He suggested royal robes and the king's own horse. Then the king commanded, "Go at once, do all of this for Mordecai the Jew." Haman was shocked and deeply humiliated. He had to honor his greatest enemy. Later that day it was time for Esther's second banquet. King Xerxes, Queen Esther and Haman were there. Again the king asked Esther, "What is your request? It shall be granted." This time Esther spoke bravely. "If I have found favor with you, O king," she began, "and if it pleases the king, spare my life and the lives of my people." She revealed that she was Jewish. She told the king about Haman's terrible plot. She explained how Haman planned to destroy all the Jews in the empire. The king was filled with terrible anger. King Xerxes stood up in a rage. He went out into the palace garden. Haman was terrified. He stayed behind and threw himself down. He begged Queen Esther to save his life. Just then, the king returned. He saw Haman on the couch where Esther was reclining. The king misunderstood and became even angrier. At that moment, one of the king's attendants, Harbona, spoke up. He pointed out the 50-cubit-high gallows. "It is the gallows Haman built for Mordecai," he said. The king gave a swift order, "Hang Haman on it." And so, the wicked Haman was punished on the very gallows he built for Mordecai. The danger was not over yet. The king's first decree against the Jews could not be changed. King Xerxes gave Haman's property to Queen Esther. He also promoted Mordecai to a high position. Esther pleaded with the king again for her people, so the king allowed Esther and Mordecai to write a new decree. It was sealed with the king's own ring. This new decree gave the Jews the right to gather and protect themselves. On the 13th day of Adar, the Jews defended themselves from their enemies. They were victorious. Instead of a day of sorrow, it became a time of joy. Esther and Mordecai established the festival of Purim. It is celebrated every year with feasting, gladness, and giving gifts. It remembers how Queen Esther saved her people.